All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks so much today for participating in today's Record to Report webinar. So after today's webinar, you'll be provided with a link, which will give you access to, in case you want to share this or watch it again in any portion. We do support questions that can be supported via the Q&A section. You'll find that below. And also, this is our fourth and final webinar as part of our Trusted AI webinar series. And as such, these can all be found on the Kognitos.com website. Should you have any general questions, please submit them to joseph@Kognitos.com. So, hey everyone, just want to take a few moments and introduce myself as well as the two others presenting with me. My name is Peter Cook, and I lead customer experience for Cognitos. I've been engaged with advanced technologies since the early 2000s and really passionate about enabling fantastic user experiences that are as frictionless as possible. In my daily role, I'm dedicated to establishing really customer-centric journeys that deliver positive business outcomes that ideally will exceed their expectations. Ashish, will you say a few words regarding yourself?
Absolutely, Peter. A very good morning and good afternoon to everyone. I know people are joining from different time zones. And Peter, very happy to be here once again. In the series, we earlier did P2P and O2C webinars on a similar topic. Ashish Singla, I head the finance and accounting practice for Wipro, based in New Jersey, in this industry from last 25 years, and in these 25 years, I've seen the industry grow and the industry transform from where we were 25 years ago, and here we are talking about autonomous finance and intelligent finance. Very exciting times. In Wipro, I run a charter of driving transformation and the practice for finance and accounting. Nisarg?
Thanks, Ashish. Hey, I'm Nisarg Dhakan here. I lead the Record to Report practice at Wipro. In the industry for almost 18 years, I have been working into Record to Report and financial planning and analysis. Very excited to be here. I have seen the webinars between Peter and Ashish for P2P and O2C, and privileged to be part of the R2R.
All right, so as we get started, some of you may be unfamiliar with Cognitos as a platform. And so let me first introduce Cognitos to you all. So Cognitos is a next generation automation platform for AI-driven automation. It enables enterprises to deploy and use AI to make smarter decisions faster. At the core of Cognitos is this concept of trusted AI. So this concept is based on the belief that AI should provide clear and auditable results that's expressed in plain language and used to create business outcomes. The trusted AI concept at the core of Cognitos ensures that our customers can harness the power of AI in a secure and a scalable manner. The Cognitos platform comes with a large set of AI capabilities. They're built in for complex end-to-end workflows with core capabilities that provide data extraction, decision assistance, data classification, as well as forecasting. So these capabilities are made available to accelerate the integration of AI across the enterprise. So finally, Cognitos is also designed for all common deployment models, those being whether cloud or on-premise. So Ashish, some in the audience may be unfamiliar with Wipro. Could you say a few words and orient them to your company?
Absolutely, Peter. About Wipro, Wipro is a well-known brand name in the industry, IT BPO consulting service provider. We are one of the most respected and a purpose-driven organization, which means that we not only transform, the operations of our customers, but we also bring a lot to the community. About 67% of every dollar we earn goes to the charitable cause. So therefore, we We are very respected in the market, a large IT BPO and consulting organization, about 230,000 plus colleagues strong. We are considered as leaders in finance and accounting and in BPO. We call it Digital Operations and Platform, DOP. Specifically on AI, the topic of discussion today, we are the pioneers, when it comes to AI, right from building our own platform. We used to call it Wipro Homes, to creating a AI 360 framework, which is driving a lot of transformation in the AI and Gen AI space. We have invested about $2 billion in specifically developing the AI and Gen AI solutions, which is helping us, progressing on this journey. And today, what we are going to present to you all will be, from our experiences, which we have gained from last 3 to 4 years, specifically in finance and accounting space. So that's Wipro for you, Peter. And then, as we go on, we can talk more about what Wipro is doing in this space.
No, it's fantastic. Thank you. Hey, everyone, we have a really great agenda for you today. And so as part of this, you're going to learn about, record to report, but you're also going to learn about the future of finance and the future about a day in the life of an accountant in the future. So we start off with covering trends and CFO priorities. Then we're going to look at where you can apply AI. So for those that are seeking, ideas and where, significant compliance or risks or opportunities have been found, you're going to be informed about those and see that future of finance, future of the role of an accountant. And you'll understand how AI can also be applied to R2R as a process area. And we'll end on challenges associated with autonomous finance. So very jam-packed agenda for you today and a lot of good learning. So as part of this, I'll provide a brief series overview. So we began with providing trusted AI, and this really was intended to inform and instruct the audience about the attributes of any given platform that you should be asking for and seeking as it pertains to implementing an AI technology within your company. From there, we covered procure to pay. And beyond just the process area and trends and priorities, we also really demonstrated evidence here about getting started now versus waiting. Within order to cash, which was our third webinar, we really covered that area in a significant amount of detail. And so if order to cash is a priority to you, definitely look at that webinar. We provide, very from process area to really process task level of detail and solutions that could be provided and applied. So today is our record to report series, and we'll get that started. All right, Ashish, would you begin talking about trends with record to report?
Peter, these trends are well known, I'm sure, to our audience. We are talking about these trends from quite some time now. We all understand that the role of the CFO has really expanded, beyond the circle of being an accountant or just reporting the numbers. CFO and the organization today are seen as more as a business partners. Therefore, some of the priorities which CFO drives and how AI plays a role, is very important to understand. CFOs today are looking at creating a very strong ecosystem through which they can bring a lot of insights for their business to grow. So they are no more, as I mentioned, the accountants or the reporting, the managers, who report various numbers. They are the ones who create insights. Now, to create those insights, they are leaning a lot on some of the latest technology solutions. To be a business partner, they need to make sure that they are very consistent in whatever their organization, specifically the CFO organization, is churning out. And hence, cognitive solutions and digital adoption becomes one of the top priority for a CFO. So while build the ecosystem, they are focusing right now on various cognitive solutions which can give them a lot of insights driven by AI. They are looking at holistic automation impacting the entire value chain and not only just their function. And hence, they because expectation from them is more from the business side, and they want to make the finance organization more data driven, right? Again, they are no more data crunchers, they are more data insight providers, right, to their businesses. And hence the CFO priorities nowadays, in our experience when we work with various organizations, they revolve around these four themes. How AI is therefore trending or shaping the R2R function, R2R function of future is very, very important to understand. And there are certain themes, which we are clearly seeing in record to reports state, record to report process. One is, predictive analytics, which is driving proactiveness in the functions. How the technology, which is driven largely by AI, is being predictive, is predicting the future, predicting your cash flows, your revenues, so on and so forth. And therefore, they are helping the CXOs manage their business better. Second is the trend is automation, which is helping to take the manual effort out to make the processes more predictable, right? That's something which is clearly driven by AI, or at least expected to be driven by AI, as we go on. And then is persona-based solutions, personalization, which can give internal and external customer a better experience. So these are the areas where today the CFOs are focusing, and that is how they are looking at the service providers or the product providers to come to them with the solutions. And on the same line, if you really see what has happened in the past, some financial irregularities which has happened in the past, which has really impacted various organizations in a negative way. And I'm not only talking about penalties here, I'm talking about the existence of the organization really depend on the way R2R function or the CFO functions are being managed. And if you recall some of the examples in last 20 years, and you can see the glimpse of those examples, when you move forward, there has been organizations who are which are being penalized, which went into bankruptcies just because there were financial irregularities like inflation of their profits, or booking an expense whereas they should have been capitalizing it. And we know the examples from WorldCom, from Enron, from Toshiba. And the theme because of which these companies really went through what they went through is accounting irregularities, the pressure to maintain higher profits. They lacked any real-time monitoring, and therefore some of the organization couldn't see what is going on wrong behind the scenes. There were cost manipulations, but there were no system to either track it, or there was no system who can avoid that cost manipulation, right, at all the levels. And then deferring the losses, as I mentioned earlier, and booking the profit early so that the stock value can go up. So that really, if you look at past, these are the things which has happened with the organizations because of which they had to close. And all of these examples are very, very relevant and related to R2R space. Now, if AI was there 20 years back, then probably, these organizations, including the regulatory authorities, could have seen this very transparently. And how is, AI-based anomaly detection a very, a fairly matured platforms in the market and fairly popular use cases where you see discrepancies are flagged off early, which means if any expense is being wrongly capitalized, there are systems which can identify and tell that here is a error which is happening in the accounting. Now we all know that if expense is not going to the P&L, your profit is of course inflated, right? And hence you can avoid a situation where you are reporting a wrong financial information to the market. Another few examples are uh, predictive analytics, which can help in realistic goal setting. You can predict how the market is going to impact based on certain numbers, certain data, and you can set the goals realistically. And if the goals are realistic, they will not put a lot of pressure on the entire system. And if pressure is not there in the system, probably we can avoid some of these financial irregularities, because once the pressure comes to book the profit, right, people think about creative ways or the ways with which they should not be following, and hence the error occurs. And therefore, AI led predictive analytics can really impact the way the goal setting is done, the way monitoring is done against those goal setting, and hence you can see where the discrepancies are happening. And I would also like to call upon Nisarg to share maybe some of the examples from the practice standpoint, which he's seeing when we are working with multiple customers.
Sure, Ashish, thanks. And yeah, see, one thing what we see is like, when if you go back to the previous slide, Peter, so if we see deferred losses, right? I mean, any organization, any market manipulator who is trying to defer losses, who is trying to book profit early, these are the early signs. And this leads to massive losses of overall all the stakeholders who are involved into the organization. Some of the organization we see that they have done some creative accounting, what Ashish was mentioning. Where if we have AI in place, right? I mean, like this kind of human-centric creativity would set aside, and we'll have a machine talking to the system and giving the actual analysis of what is there on the ground, rather than we designing new ways of like saving things or like meeting unrealistic targets. So I'm completely aligned, like that yeah, AI would give wonders in this kind of scenarios.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr.
Sure, you can go with it. Yeah. Thanks, Ashish.
Hey, Ashish, you're muted.
Sorry about that. And because of these reasons, an intelligent finance or autonomous finance, whatsoever you call, becomes inevitable and imminent. You need these solutions so that the discrepancies can be highlighted, discrepancies can be identified, for you to be more effective. And not only discrepancies, AI is driving and is going to drive a lot of automation, and hence making your processes more standardized, more predictable, right, more transparent, and hence you can reap all the benefits which the organizations in early 2000 could not. Now, how can you reach there? And where we are on this journey, really, in when I talk about, or when we think about record to report. See, there are four stages really in this. You have an intelligent process where the AI is making you intelligent. There is a human intervention, there is a large human play. However, AI is making you intelligent by doing analytics, by looking at a large set of data and giving you insights about it and making you intelligent as a human, so that you can do, or a human can do the job better, right? So that's the phase which is a phase of intelligent. Then is a phase of augmented, where there is a share of the judgment between machine and human. So they split the judgment. A machine does some amount of judgment and help the human to take the right call and do the right entry. And I'll take an example. For example, you are spending about $250,000 to buy an asset or a large purchase. In an intelligent phase, the machine will analyze, will slice and dice the data, will give you insights on, what is the spend. In an augmented phase, it will do all that, but it will also do spend categorization. It will also identify cost codes and the account code recommendation where it should be booked. And therefore, from an intelligent, it becomes augmented and helping a human to take a better decision so that they don't do the mistake of booking it incorrectly. Now, from there, we move to a state which is called automated. And that is where the judgment based work, which we talked in augmented, is performed by a machine like an RPA, right? So we make an intelligent bot in that particular space. So we started with an intelligence through insight. We created some judgment, machine learned about it. Then we had machine making, performing the job, and finally moving to an autonomous stage where machines are talking to machines and performing the job, and there is a very little intervention from a human standpoint. And in this case, in the example which I was giving, where you spent $250,000, you made the machine analyze it, you made the machine do some judgment, you made the machine do the work now, and then machine is talking to machines and various systems, and they are performing the job and taking the decisions. And of course, there is a small bit of human intervention. What I believe is we are at a stage, most of the products in the market today and most of the solutions in the market are at an augmented. There are certain, at an augmented, kind of a world. There are certain solutions and certain use cases where we are automated and autonomous, but by and large, we are at an augmented stage. We are trying to do a lot of pilot and create, certain ecosystem of use cases where we can move from an augmented to an automated to an autonomous solution. But yeah, it's gonna take us about, I would say, 18 to 24 months, before we really see a complete autonomous solution when it comes to R2R. So therefore, intelligent finance, autonomous finance is inevitable. It's a journey. You will go from intelligent to an augmented to an automated to autonomous. But the good news is it's not very far.
Absolutely. All right, great. And as part of that, now we get to talk through really the transformation of the accounting role, the accounting function.
Yeah. So therefore, what it means really, Peter, in the record to report process specifically, all these phases, and we are hearing a lot about automating the reconciliation and doing a lot of insights, doing journal entry automation, so on and so forth. We categorize all the AI led automation into different personas. One of the persona is cognitive accountant, where AI provides insight and we use human instinct. So judgment is human. If you recall the last page, we talked about that in the phase one, right? And we compare that with Tesla, right? So that our audience can understand. In Tesla, drivers are getting assistance from the computer vision, right? Whereas, if I draw a parallel to R2R or in accounting, the cognitive solutions or the AI solutions supporting the finance functions is what we are calling as cognitive accountants. There are accountants which are available and they are leveraging the cognitive ability of the technology to perform their job, right? And I will, there are some very good examples which we have seen in Wipro in our world. And I will ask Nisarg to talk about a couple of these examples in the light of how we are utilizing or implementing a solution like a cognitive accountant.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, like some of the examples we have listed down. If we look at revenue recognition, through AI, it is giving us analysis from our reports, from our historical data, which adjustments needs to be posted in the next period, or which adjustments needs to be done for deferring the profits or losses, keeping the organizational policies in view, or where in as a cognitive accountant, the system will come and give us the analysis on the revenue recognition part. The posting will still be with the humans at this stage. What are the processes where you can improve and automate the asset valuations, how it will help in the audits when physical audits happens, and if physical audits happens in future as well. So I'll not go too much into details, but yeah, I mean, see, there are solutions in form of AI algorithms which can actually go into the details, give us
Yeah, thank you, Nisarg. So from there, let's
details
transition
on what kind of
into,
irregularities can happen, and that can prevent us from doing. And that is what, yeah, Ashish.
yeah, from there, let's go into the compliance accountant. And where are you thinking about that, Ashish?
Yeah, there are, I think it's a very, very important topic on compliance accountant. And we saw some of the examples on risk and compliance, when we looked at what happened in past, what happened to, Toshiba or, Enron and so on and so forth. I talked about some of those examples. So I think compliance accounting is another persona which is very, very important. There are, from uh, so compliance accountant takes us, from having a concern about AI agents becoming unpredictable to securing them, securing the AI powered forensic tools. So it's really, about making sure that there is enough transparency, there is enough confidence on the data, there is enough, analysis which comes out where we can really, say it with maximum confidence that it is right. And, that is where the compliance accountant is looked at, which is guarded by the AI. However, it is guided by human. Of course, in all the AI components, there is a human element, right? So examples, what it means in FNA, for example, is a clean data, is a streamlined data strategy for the security of financial transactions. Compliance, which is embedded, within your entire process itself, right? And therefore, AI is able to test that compliance rules and is able to report on the give you a score or tell you where is your compliance going wrong. There is reduction of manual controls, and therefore the reduction of audit cost is one of the outcome of the compliance accountant, right? Today we have to spend a lot of money, a lot of people, a lot of effort and technology into making sure that we are compliant with various rules and regulations, and it increases when we go global from US to Europe. It changes significantly. So therefore, compliance accountant uh, is a very important persona. And in the future, when you are looking at your respective processes and you are trying to find out a use case, look out for something which can fit into the compliance accountant framework. And I'm sure, Peter, in Cognitos, you are, probably looking at the same thing as well. When Cognitos is being implemented for the customers, compliance is one of the top priority for you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And as part of this, I'd also reflect on, the in-depth content we covered in the Trusted AI, our first webinar series. Part of that, and also some of the capabilities provided by Cognitos is, for example, a human in the loop. So there is no such thing as a hallucination with Cognitos. Should the machine or system have any doubt or any direction, it's contacting the human for that guidance. Related to that also is the ability to capture, business SME tribal knowledge, and we call those learnings. And so, the ability to capture what to do in a given situation and to execute that every time that situation happens again. Also, as it pertains to this, the final point would be that with Cognitos, we provide a complete system of record on absolutely everything that the machine does. So very powerful in terms of having control and oversight over automation programs.
Yeah, thanks for that view, Peter. And I'm sure we will cover that in one of the demo which you have, and also talking about what differentiate Cognitos from the rest of the technologies which we have seen.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so now let's shift to the automated accountant.
Yeah, I mean, again, from a cognitive, we went into the compliance accountant, and then from there, to an automated accountant, which is really um, is about the system learning and performing the task on their own, right? That's really what automated is, which is making your processes more intelligent. There is less of human and more of machine in this particular, in this particular persona. Um, and I'm sure we all have heard this example, and we all use some kind of a watch which tracks our health, which tracks our steps on a regular basis. So a watch tells you how many steps you have done, what is your pulse rate, and so on and so forth. But the day it will make a call to a doctor when you are having a heart attack, or you're showing a sign of that, that's what the automated, that's what the parallel to an automated accountant is, where you are seeing that there is a expense which has come in for, and which is a capital expense, and based on the judgment, you should be using a cost code and an account code which puts it into the right category, whether it is a balance sheet or a P&L. And the machine is actually performing that rather than telling a human to do. When machine performs that, that makes it an automated accountant, right? And that is where a lot of our solutions will move. Some of them are already there, but specifically talking about R2R, and some of these solutions which Wipro has is AI-based revenue forecasting, right? Where we collect data, machine creates that forecast and create an action plan. Of course, we are not there where some of the actions are also taken by the machine. That will be an autonomous stage. But AI-based revenue forecasting is an automated accountant solution which we have. Then the dynamic financial reporting, which we do. There is a lot of real-time monitoring which happens by triangulating the information, is moving and is being categorized in the automated accounting stage, automated accountant persona per se.
That's great. I think we just keep moving to the next one. Let's cover the digital accountant.
And that's the last one, I promise, in the persona list which we have, digital accountant. And I want the audience to really, get familiar with these personas and the thought, which we showed them on various phases. Because when you think about R2R, it's not about pressing a button and getting the result, because there is a lot of data at the back end which needs to be synchronized. There are a lot of systems which needs to speak to each other to make that happen. And that's why these various personas will help you understand, how the autonomous finance journey can progress, or how you can approach the journey of the intelligent or the autonomous finance in your area. Now, digital accounting is a real-time assistance, a machine working with machine, and helping you get the right answer. And there are a lot of examples, right from real-time monitoring to solving a problem on a chat. We all saw the chatbot, kind of a solution. But I will again, Nisarg has done some of the work in this particular area in the intercompany specifically, and he can, maybe give a little more insights into this area, Nisarg.
And I'd just like to align what Ashish was saying in the very first cognitive accounting slide. Like 15 years back, none of us would have thought car can drive by itself. AI can drive a car. Similarly, maybe like as Ashish mentioned, 18 to 24 months down the line, we'll be not surprised, right? If R2R process is as much automated as a digital accountant, and this is the example which we have put in, where a controller, is trying to understand what is the status of their intercompany transactions. So if you go through the thing, the whole thing will be monitored by a mobile, and that's what we are showing. That all the status, the AI is answering the controller, what is the status of intercompany ledger, when was it closed. They're asking for an aging report of out of balance on intercompany, and the aging report is getting delivered to their mobile phones on their email. And then control is even asking the next step, that which legal entity is contributing the most in the out of balance, and the AI is able to identify and give it back to the controller that this is the area which would need to. So it's real time. It's not going to be like I need to go to hundreds of reports to find out which is the legal entity which I need to focus on, where my numbers are going, and what should I do. So these things are going to be too fast, and we need to understand that this is not far, and this is what we are trying to aspire, to reach as an R2R industry altogether, as in finance industry in R2R especially. And in line with the same what Ashish was saying till now, in the next slide, we are actually focusing on some of the values which we think artificial intelligence will give when we try to talk about the different personas. If we go into specific outcomes, like we always want to see that how the close process can happen as quickly as possible, a continuous close approach. We want to go into our start with a general ledger where the entire process is connected to each other. Machine is talking to a machine. Journals, reconciliations are easy automations to start with. Again, saying that it also needs a lot of work, need a lot of data-driven insights, which will lead to month-end closes, which are natural language processes or NLG-driven. And it will simplify the process. It will make the teams who are working day in, day out into very crucial month-end close to focus more on analysis, more on decision-making areas, more on strategy of the organization, which will help them to design the reports, which are again event driven, which will be persona based, which will be low touch, no touch operations. And it will also give a very, very straightforward, streamlined compliance scorecard, directly processing the processes, not utilizing the times into non-valued activities. And that will eventually lead to productivity gains, what we are anticipating, which will be far more. We are saying 50%, but I'm sure it will be far more than that. And of course, there's some traditional workflows, ad hoc requests. I'm not saying that will go away in R2R. It will always be there. But yeah, I mean, it will be streamlined eventually. And that is what we think until now into this presentation, what we are, or in the discussion, what we are doing is that all this leads to a question that, okay, what is stopping us? And that is what we are going into the next slide. And Ashish and we both will cover. So Ashish, you want to cover the points there are multiple challenges, right? Which we think which are there in the process, right? To achieve or probably to go to that autonomous level, and some of the challenges we have highlighted here, and then which leads us to the major challenge, which is approach. Yeah, Ashish, I'll pass it back to you.
Sure. And thanks for sharing that perspective on what are the use cases and what is the benefit, Nisarg. There are many challenges leading to the end state, which we are calling as autonomous finance, right? And those challenges are softer. Those challenges are data related. Those challenges are system. They can be logistic challenges and so on and so forth. So there is but what we have seen largely, many challenges like budgets, training, building the expertise are something, which are in the control of the customers we work with, right? You can always throw money on a project, but money will not take you to autonomous finance, right? Why? Because there is a fear of failure. There is a fear of job loss, right? which is stopping some of the organizations to move forward. CFOs and controllers and CFO teams are being this change champion where they are continuously doing a lot of pilots, or at least talking about it this point in time, a lot of pilots looking at, what is the art of the possible so that the fear of failure can go away. On the job loss, there is enough said in AI. If you, it's not the AI which will take the job. It's the lack of AI which probably will take the jobs away, right? In your respective area. So I think, the way you approach matters a lot, specifically in the CFO organization, and very importantly in R2R, which is seen as a judgment-based processes, a mid to a high strategic value, when it comes to R2R. If you are, not focusing on end to end, and we covered this in our previous webinars as well, Peter, if you recall, if we are not looking at end to end, if we are not looking at real life scenarios, and if we are just talking theoretical, we are not going to get there. No matter how much budget you put into a particular technology. If there is no strategy, we will face a challenge. So when you start, there has to be a strategy on where you want to land, right? And again, I will go back to the discussion of the personas which we defined as cognitive accountant or a compliance accountant, a digital accountant, and so on and so forth, and the various phases. There has to be strategy on how you're going to progress on that. And I'm sure, these are the challenges. Data challenges, of course, is a very real one. Understanding the data, modeling the data, having the right data set, and how you are addressing. If you look at some of this, probably will help you define the next course of action for R2R, effectively.
Yeah, as part of this also, Ashish, I think about with current customers today that are kind of getting started in terms, they have perhaps some type of automation, but really getting started thinking about this type of objective of autonomous finance. And they're seeking insight into, what are those processes best suited for this? And then I think they also worry about having that expertise in-house that is able to say apply that. I would really challenge those that are going down this approach to establish some OKRs in terms of what objectives would you like to achieve, and then what would you call success, and know that you may not hit them perfectly, but that's a great start, and that'll be supported by an associated strategy, and then also benchmarking from this other success that you can find on case studies out there about what kind of processes and the attributes that help them identify that was appropriate. Also, from the content that you're being showed here today, these are true cases in which AI would have made a significant difference.
Yeah, Peter, absolutely. Absolutely. Very important points. And I think, defining that North Star and the approach to that North Star needs to be defined very clearly. There is a lot of change involved in the AI. By no means it is an easy, I would say, initiative, right? However, if we take care of some of these approach related issues or tenets, I think, we'll be able to address that very effectively.
And so one of the questions I like to ask you, Ashish, and you can work with any application software out there as part of Wipro, and quite often you're leaning to Kognitos, and we're working together. As part of that, could you say a few words why you're having success with Kognitos?
Sure, Peter. I mean, you're right. We work with multiple technologies. Within Wipro, we have many partners in the automation space. When we work with Cognitos, there are some very distinct, differentiator, which we have seen in our experience across the various streams of finance and accounting. And I'll call out some of it, which are very, very useful. One is the way the exceptions are handled by the system. Now, again, go back to the life cycle of throwing insights and having learning judgments, how to make a judgment and perform a task. I believe, Cognitos is analyzing the data, analyzing multiple set of data as a capability. It can do that. It can, make certain calls based on the judgment which has been built into this, or it learns, very quickly in a shorter period time, and then perform that task. And therefore, exception handling within Cognitos is a very high percentage, right? It is in certain use cases, it is truly at an automated stage. We can also call it autonomous in certain, but again, as per definition, as I said, autonomous is machines working with machines. There is a human element, and that's the reason I'm calling it, very high rate of automation where machines are performing the job, learning it, analyzing the data. And because of that, it creates something which we call as corporate memory, which means that the knowledge which the system builds remains with the system. And therefore, in shared services, what we have seen is there is always a risk of people leaving and the knowledge going out with them. That is something very effectively Cognitos address by building a corporate memory. Multiple exceptions, as and when the system is learning or building a judgment and performing a task, it is building a corporate memory, which helps at least addressing, this one aspect of shared service and a pain area, which is called attrition, right? Replication of the learnings from one geo or a one business unit to various geos and various business unit is literally a one click application in Cognitos, which means if something is applicable in US, can be applied to either one geography across the globe or multiple geographies by click of a button, right? As is, it can replicate. And therefore, that learning never goes waste. What you learned in US, is applied in other geographies, and that is another area, especially in a shared service environment where you're consolidating from the globe. People struggle with, and it it rationalizes a lot of technologies, which any of the customer, for Wipro or for Cognitos is having. It rationalizes, computer vision technologies like OCR and so on and so forth. It rationalizes language translation, workflows, reporting tools. So it reduces the technical debt, which our customers carry, very, very effective in that. And finally, it also reports on what is the ROI. So you can really see what is the penetration of AI with the help of Cognitos reporting. It tells you whether a particular work stream is fully taken over by AI, or we are at an intelligent stage, or we are at an automated stage, and therefore what is the ROI, how much I am able to save. So very, very effective in that area. So what as I was saying, in my earlier pages of presentation, that there are technologies, which are largely at an augment stage, but for Cognitos, I will say there are some use cases where absolutely automated stage and moving towards autonomous. Peter.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ashish. Really appreciate that. So with that, we've talked about Cognitos, and really now is a great time to proceed with a brief demonstration. So let me get that going. And the use case I'm going to cover is bank statement reconciliation. So in this case, we're going to, upon receipt of a bank statement over email, we're going to extract that data from that. We're also at the same time going to extract data from an ERP system. We're going to compare those and reconcile the two values. And then we're going to notify the user of the given result. So as part of that, you can see, and granted, the business user is not going to see this. This is the type of content that the creator of workflows or automations would see. Now, as part of this, you're obtaining the bank statement, you're opening the bank statement and pulling out those results. And here I'm going to show you, supported in our product is the visualization of getting the data simultaneously from the bank statement and from SAP, from checking to see if they do balance And then there's a corresponding, they do bounce type of message or they don't bounce type of message. And so in this case, we are kicking off or triggering the process via email. There are other, of course, ways to trigger. It could be via API, it could be a scheduled process. It could also, of course, be manually kicked off. So as part of this, via email in this case, we've initiated that process to run. So in this case, where that email has been started, and you'll see that it is processing exactly as you saw previously. And so it is showing you exactly step by step the data that is being extracted in real time. Again, this is not the type of screen and interface that a business user is going to see. Business user will be interacted with by Cognitos when it has an exception. But in this case, I'll stop it for a moment. Now you can see that these two amounts are going to align. And so you can expect the result. In this case, the email that would be generated by Cognitos is one that is providing that affirmation or confirmation that they do match. And so in this, we're opening up the two different documents to then verify that there is a match. And you can see those here side by side. So I'm going to stop the demo at this period because I've noticed that we're running at time. And with that, I think it's good to proceed. But that gives you a day in the life of working with Cognitos and how business users interact, and also that kind of screener interface in which creators interface with. You'll note that everything I showed you was in natural language. Easy to understand English. That's really where AI takes that natural language content and translates it into language that the machine would understand. So all attributes of our platform are in just natural language. So with that, we encourage you to really take the next step. Find out more. Learn about our case studies and our success stories. I'm providing you here both easy mechanisms to reach out to sales with Cognitos and/or Wipro, business partner. So since we are at time, I don't think we're going to take any questions. I apologize for that, but we really covered great in-depth content with you. I hope you truly find valuable and useful for applying in your workday. And I want to thank so much Nisarg and Ashish for the time and the expertise that you shared with the audience today.
Thank you very much, Peter. Really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Peter. It was very nice. Thank you.